Explainer: blood, treasure and chaos. The cost of Russia's conflict in Ukraine. London: Russia's February 24 invasion of Ukraine has left tens of hundreds of dead, displaced tens of millions and sown financial strife internationally. Following are the primary effects of the conflict because it enters its seventh month. Deaths since February 24. 587 civilians were recorded as killed and 7,890 as injured, although the real casualties are an awful lot higher. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights (OHCHR) stated on August 22. Most of these killed or injured have been the victims of explosive guns including artillery, missile and air moves, the OHCHR mentioned. Separately, the pinnacle of Ukraine's militia, General Valery Zaluzhny, mentioned on August 22 that almost 9,000 Ukrainian Navy employees have been killed inside the conflict, the first loss of life toll provided via the military pinnacle brass because the invasion. He supplied no information. Russia has no longer mentioned how many of its infantrymen had been killed. U.S. intelligence estimates that a few 15,000 Russian squaddies have been killed thus far in Ukraine and 3 instances that number wounded, same to the full Soviet loss of life toll at some stage in Moscow's occupation of Afghanistan in 19,791,989. The war in eastern Ukraine commenced in 2014 after a pro-Russian president changed into toppled in Ukraine's Maidan Revolution and Russia annexed Crimea, with Russian-backed forces fighting Ukraine's defense force. About 14,000 people have been killed there among 2014 and the end of 2021, in keeping with OHCHR, such as 3,106 civilians. Misery since February 24, 10.33% of Ukrainians, which has a population of more than 41 million, were compelled from their homes, the largest present-day human displacement crisis within the global, the United Nations Refuge Company has mentioned. There are currently extra than 6.6 million refugees from Ukraine recorded across Europe, with the most important numbers in Poland, Russia and Germany, in step with the Business Enterprises records. Ukraine. Besides the human losses, Ukraine has lost manipulate of around 22% of its land to Russia since the 2014 annexation of Crimea, in line with calculations. It has misplaced a swath of shoreline, its financial system has been crippled and some towns had became wastelands by means of Russian shelling. Ukraine's economic system will agreement by 45% in 2022, the World Bank and International Monetary Fund have predicted. The actual dollar price to Ukraine is doubtful. Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal stated in July that the total rebuild after the war might fee approximately $750 billion. It can be a good deal greater. It is uncertain how plenty Ukraine has spent on preventing. Russia. The conflict has been high-priced for Russia too, even though it does now not disclose the expenses, that are state secrets. Besides the Navy charges, the West has tried to punish Moscow by way of imposing excessive sanctions, the most important shock to Russia's economy because the 1991 disintegrate of the Soviet Union. Russia's important financial institution now forecasts that the $1.8 trillion financial system will contract with the aid of 4%-6% in 2022, much less than the 8% 10% contraction it forecast in April. Still, the effect on Russia's financial system is excessive and now not but fully clear. It has been excluded from Western financial markets, maximum of its oligarchs are sanctioned, and its miles experiencing troubles sourcing a few items including microchips. Russia last month defaulted on its foreign bonds for the first time because the calamitous months following the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution. Prices. The invasion and Western sanctions on Russia brought about steep rises inside the costs of fertilizer, wheat, metals and electricity, feeding into both a brewing meals disaster and an inflationary wave. This is crashing via the global economic system. Russia is the world's second-largest oil exporter after Saudi Arabia and the arena's biggest exporter of herbal gas, wheat, nitrogen fertilizer and palladium.